Welcome. My name is Joel Solomon. I'm a prosperity coach. This is Tony Veer, relationship coach. And I'll let Tony start today.
Hi, y'all. My name is Tony Veer. Did you just say that? I'm Tony Veer. And I am a relationship coach. And I got to tell you, the reason why I'm sitting here with Joel, we've known each other since 2012, right?
Yes, yeah.
And the reason I'm sitting here with him is because one day we was talking, and he's like, man, we got to do something, man, because money just keeps destroying relationships. That's the biggest reason why people break up, right?
Right.
I was like, oh, no, I got to do something about it. So, like, I'm completely enrolled in that. But I never asked you, what made you come to me and talk about that? Where'd they come from?
Great question. So I was actually jogging one morning, I don't know how many months ago, and I had this thought. It just felt like from my source or higher self that was, you keep on meeting clients who got divorced because of money, their relationships are ending because of money, and I just had this idea that no one's really trying to solve this problem before it begins, right? So why not work with Tony as a relationship coach to try to help people in relationships resolve their issues around money so that their relationships can flourish and not end, because as we know, divorce is like 50% probability for marriages, and relationships, it's a big issue for relationships. There's a lot of arguments around money. It becomes an emotional issue. So that was the reason why I reached out to you.
Okay.
And here we are.
Well, I'll tell you, the reason why I decided to do it is that it called to me, like it resonated with my life purpose. So my life purpose, I discovered in 2007 in a classroom with a personal development room class. And what I heard was the classroom leader ask a question. The question he asked was, what is the sacred oath you made with yourself before you was born, and what are you doing about it? And I was like, oh my God. I started to cry right then and there because I knew what it was, but worse, I knew I wasn't doing a damn thing about it.
Right.
And so what I did was I got in front of the classroom and I took over for about 5 or 10 minutes, still just crying in front of them and all of that stuff. And I found out, and I let them know that my life purpose is to have love present on the planet. And that's actually the first time I became, really present to like being a coach. I had people talking to me about coaching, but I didn't take it seriously until that point. And what I realized now is refining my life purpose more. It is to have, to deliver, love as a state of mind and a way of life. You know how entrepreneurs, they can see money and opportunities in anything, right? Or people who's good cooks, they could make a good meal out of anything in your kitchen. My commitment is to have you and everyone else on the planet walking around, they see love everywhere they go.
All right. That's great.
So
do you want to talk, you're a New Yorker, native New Yorker, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little about New York and your experiences?
Okay, sure. Yes, I am definitely a native New Yorker. I am a sports fan, so I love the Knicks. Oh my God, the Giants and the Yankees. The Yankees are doing good this year, but the Knicks. If you got any tissues, please send me some because they just making me cry. I've been in love with them since 1970, and damn it, they making me upset. Anyhow. I also happened to be working in the World Trade Center. I was on an elevator when the plane hit the building on 9/11.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a half a floor from my floor, and it was a scary spiritual experience. As a matter of fact, it took me about an hour to get out of the building, which was shocking. But of course, nobody knew that the building was going to collapse, right? So it was a long time. But anyhow, I'm walking up the street because, at some point we got kicked out of the different areas, first up below Canal and then below 14th Street. And so I'm walking up as they kicked us out of 14th Street, and I'm walking up at Astor Place, which is one of the last train stops before you get to 14th Street, for those of you who don't know New York. And I'm standing there and I'm at front of the subway, and I can see where the World Trade Center buildings were. And all I saw was two columns of smoke that was about the same height as the buildings. And I had this thought. This thought came to me. I didn't have it. And the thought was, if Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, was accurate when he said that inside of every failure or disaster lies the seed of an equivalent or greater success, then what was the greater equivalent success from that disaster.
Mm.
And I got my answer 15 minutes later. I'm walking up the street in New York. I'm on 2nd Avenue and around 17th Street. And I'm not remembering if it was St. Mary's or St. Elizabeth's Hospital, but it's a big hospital there. And there was a line of people all the way around the building, which is a long building because in New York, between avenues, oh my God, it's like 3 streets, you know? But they were all there to give blood. And I'm like, how did they do that? I mean, it was spontaneous because there was no telephone systems and you could barely hear anything else on the radio. So it wasn't like somebody coordinated that. You had probably a couple of thousand people online willing to donate blood. And what I got present from that is 2 things. One, that we are loving before anything else. Before we have a second thought, we want to be loving. That's the first thing. And then the second thing I really got was, in 100 years, they're going to be saying that was the key. That was the beginning of lasting world peace. Because after that, you could not say that we're not all in the same boat together. So that's one of the things that
definitely
actually
all in this together.
Yeah. That's when I actually became a global citizen, mentally and emotionally, first time.
So a couple of thoughts. First of all, Finger Rich really resonates with me. Napoleon Hill. I've actually read that book 18 times since 2008. That book changed my life.
I thought I did good reading it 3 times.
It's actually a big story around that, which I'll tell you guys another time. And the other thing I wanted to mention is the giving part when you talked about those people giving blood, because I talk about the importance of giving in financial freedom because giving creates karma. And when you're giving, when you're putting you have certain things to give out into the world, whether it's money or blood or whatever it is, that abundance is going to come back to you multiple times. So those people are probably, because they gave from the heart, they probably have much more abundance in their life than they did at that time 17 years ago. And then the other thing I just wanted to mention is my experience with 9/11, which was nowhere near as traumatic as yours. I was actually in Oslo, Norway, about to get on a flight at I guess it was early 9:30 in the morning when the second tower fell. And I literally saw it on TV when there were tons of people, hundreds of people crowded around each TV, saw the plane hit and then get on a plane in order to get on a flight back to New York. We actually stopped off in London because we couldn't get back to New York. And I was unfortunately forced to stay in London for a number of days without any contact with friends and family for hours to find out that everyone's safe. I was actually living in Manhattan on the Upper East Side at the time. So I tell people I lived in the state of New York my whole life, except for about 15 months I lived in Switzerland. So I am also a native New York stater. And again, my true life purpose is to help people become financially free. And people ask me, Joel, why did you shut down your hedge fund? That was your dream job for 15 years. And so I shut down my fund because I went to this course. And at that course, the reason why I went to the course was to get my business to the next level, to make it a long-term, viable, sustainable entity. And I had an epiphany at that course. And I came home that night, and the next morning I went into my office on 54th and 6th Avenue, and I sent an email to my investors telling them I'm shutting down my fund. I'm giving them their money back because I figured out my true life purpose, and I know sounds like a cliche, but it's true. I figured out my true purpose was to help people become financially free. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm helping people overcome their roadblocks on their way to financial freedom now. That's my true life purpose. And so that's why I'm here today, to help you guys.
And so we hope that you get fulfilled on my particular life purpose, which is to leave you better than we found you. And that these videos and the content and the techniques, the distinctions, the lessons that come from it behind this, after this, is going to leave you better than you were before you saw these videos. So we're looking forward to taking care of you and
look forward to seeing you soon.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right.